So much of the movie that you see on the screen it's all created in the storyboard process.
The boarding process, I think, was leaner and meaner than most animated features, and it's probably partly due to the fact that Jeff Lynch and I, and Brad Bird and I, we all came from television. We were working on Simpsons, where things had to be much leaner, meaner, faster, quicker.
Not only with an animated film do you want to see the reels completed, you want to see it playing out. The reels are especially full. They're called animatics. There's actually movement, you know, that Andrew Menace is a genius at this.
The use of animatics in Iron Giant was to pre-visualize in a very complete way what a shot was going to look like very early on, before the shot really ever went into production, and that included splitting storyboard artwork into multiple levels, splitting characters off backgrounds, and then splitting single drawn backgrounds into multiple layers so that we could do multiplanes. And this served sort of multiple functions of communicating to the lot very early on what the film was basically going to look like before it went into production. And also internally, as far as making the movie, in story, it allowed us to basically, in the same way, see what it was going to look like before it went into production, and that was, you know, multiplaning camera moves, temp effects, even sort of rough lighting. All these things sort of enabled us to see what it was going to look like, because the camera telling the story was, you know, very much a part of the storytelling process.
Animatics with Brad, Jeff, and Andy was just such great fun, because we really got into filmmaking. I mean, from the start, from boarding, we were into the filmmaking of composition and what the camera's doing, and the cinematography, and then taking right that animatics where it's pretty much realized with what Andy was doing with separating elements in the drawing and making a move. And I mean, it was, you know, barring animating it, I mean, it was close to the finished picture as possible. After that, once these scenes went into production, they served another function of communicating to the whole building what the shot was going to look like, the timing, sort of what the effects were going to look like, lighting. People could punch up the shot on the webpage and look at it.
The old Disney guys would do these incredible storyboards, but they were really about just telling the story. There was a separate department that did the staging. How do you show it? And Brad really folds it all in. You know, your staging and your storytelling, they all happen at the same time.
Dean Wellens ended up boarding more than half the film himself, and then went on to animate more scenes in the film than anyone else. So we nicknamed him the Clydesdale, because he carried so much work on his shoulders.
I think a lot of storyboards in the past of other studios tends to be more of like a little cartoon strip where they just kind of get the idea out there. And usually the difference between the storyboards and then the final animation is the, you know, leaps and bounds. Iron Giant, I mean, we would literally be taking drawings right from the storyboard and putting it into the scene, because our storyboards are really tight that way.
You can